Right, so here we are trying to, we're going to cut out the belly of this whip now. I've already started. So this is the bolt, what they call the bolster. It will go around that core that I showed you the other day. And then we'll plait over the top of that. It's got a taper. It needs to be trimmed as we go to make sure we got the right thickness all the way through and getting the right taper on that whip. And then here we come up to a narrow part that's going to be right up in the neck of the whip. Then your keeper sort of will be like that. And then we've started to cut the strands. These strands are way too thick at the moment. They need to be trimmed down, but we can do that after we do the rough cut. So I'm just going to show you how I cut. Again, we're hoping to make this whip 5.5 foot long. So I think we want this belly about that 4.25 feet long, 4'3", something like that. So the normal rule in plaiting applies that you need 1.5 times the length that you're trying to plait. So we're going to need to cut this out about 6.5 feet or something like that, the strands for this belly. We want them to end up around 3 mil, and we're going to start here at about 7 mil. So we're just going to probably cut a couple of foot at 7 mil, and then a couple of feet at 5 mil, and then a couple of feet at the 3 mil. If we need to trim them up later as we're plaiting, we certainly can. What I used to use, I actually saw this on I think David Morgan, who's from the States, he's a whip maker, and he uses something like this. So and I just made this up in the shed myself. It's just a blade sitting up there that I can tighten up, move up and down as the blade bluntens, and then this little guide here that you just undo and it slides in and out. So I just use this for my rough cut, and it sort of works reasonably well for me. And then I did go and buy myself another sizer to size my strands. But anyhow, I do it. So I just got it on the edge of the bench here. I've already started to cut these. I've got it marked down here in 1 foot intervals. So what I'm going to do is just cut it the first 2 foot at the 7 mil, which is as wide as this little thing will go. So we'll do 7, and then a 5, and then a 3. So all I do is put it through there like that, and just pull along like that, and just keep working. Try and keep that strand hard up in against the guide, and we just go around like that. So they may look pretty rough, but they will need to get resized, and of course their edges beveled and all that, so they end up being they'll be a little bit nicer than this at the end. So that's my first strand. Come back for the second strand and just get him in there. I've already started those with a knife, or I actually used a scalpel blade. And also by doing this you can cut out any imperfections in the hide. This hide's got a little hole over here, you can see. So when we get around that, we can just slip around that and cut that hole out. Okay, so I've just continued on cutting, and I'm just getting up to the last little bit of cutting here. I just thought I'd just show you that imperfection in the hide there. You can see there's a hole in that hide. We're actually not going to get out that far in the hide with this cutting this belly, but we will when we get into the cutting the strands for the handle. And that's when I'll show you how to work around something like that. So anyhow, we've just worked down, we've gone through down to our 7s, 5s, 4s. I think we're at 4 now, and we're just going to cut about a foot at 4. You can see we're just sort of in the flank of the kangaroo here now, because it's getting a little bit softer and it'll stretch a little bit there. So just trying to make sure we're right out of full width. And as I said, this is only a simple 4-strand belly. That's all you need for in your bellies. And then there'll be a 4-strand. So at the end of the day, the whip will have the twisted core, then a bolster, which is the other end of this belly that I've cut. It wraps around that core, and then this will plait over that core, and then we'll have another 1 or 2 bolsters, depending on just how we need to get the taper of the whip, and then the overlay over the top of that. And the overlay is going to be that 2-tone in the aqua and black. So we nearly finished this belly now. So we've cut about 4 odd feet of strand now. At 4, I'm just going to bring this one down a little bit. I always use a set of calipers just to make sure I'm pretty much spot on where I need to be. That's just a little bit thick. Make sure we're at 0. That's down at 3. That's actually 3.79, but we'll get that little bit out when we stretch them and bevel. And so I just want to cut, I've only got about another 1.5 foot to cut at this. As I said, we can soon resize these when we're plaiting. So we're at about the 6 foot, and we're just going to finish that strand off. So we're just going to bring him here a bit longer, so make sure we've got enough length, and just run him out. And the better you do your prep work, like anything, the better the end product's going to be. See, I made a bit of a slip there. See, I just made a bit of a slip there, and I've got that. So I'm just going to try and cut it out. Just grab a knife and just cut that out so that my next strand hasn't got a big bit in it like that. And that's the belly cut out. So we've got, our bolster that's going to wrap around. That's going to wrap around that core to make the core of the belly. Then we've got our keeper, it's going to eventually attach onto the thong, and then we've got our 4 strands. They all need to be resized and stretched and beveled. But anyhow, that's how we do a belly of a whip. Thank you.